Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another session of eCommerce Expander Secrets. Easy for me to say. Thank you very much for joining me. We've got a great guest with us today, and I'm really excited to get them on and start talking all things e-commerce. Thank you very much for joining us, Michael. We're still there. I can see you. There's a
Yeah, hey Andy, happy to be here today.
Fantastic. Michael, give us a little intro about yourself, if you don't mind, so people can just understand, who you are, who you're currently working for, how that works. Very short snippet, and perhaps where you're based.
Yeah, sure. So first off, I'm based in Northern California, live in Berkeley, and our company's offices are in San Francisco. And I work for Evolv AI. We're a digital artificial intelligence optimization and personalization platform using advanced AI and machine learning to help brands improve their customer experience online. And I've been in retail pretty much my whole life. I started in traditional retail and merchandising, pivoted to e-commerce around 2000 with Best Buy, and have really been on the digital side of the business ever since.
Nice. I'm really excited about this one because, when we start looking at trends and things like that, I'm going to come on to that later. But
Yeah.
When we start talking about trends, like AI is massive right now, and I think that this is going to give us some really key insights about, what we could do with the data. And just before we came on, I'm just going to steal one of Michael's lines just to tease people to make sure they stay around, because the line was, we've basically got more data than we know what to do with. And it's about taking that data and putting it into action. And I think that's really important. That really resonated with me. Certainly as a business owner, I know that we've got more data than we can shake a stick at. So it's about now how we capitalize and maximize on that. And for people with e-commerce brands and e-commerce stores, it's exactly the same. What is the data telling us? How can we maximize the opportunity? What do we need? What's the data telling us? So I'm really excited to get into this, Michael. But we're going to start like we always do, getting to know Michael a little bit more first. So, Michael, clearly you've not always been in with Evolv, and clearly you started doing something else. You touched on it as well. You started in retail. So, did you go to college, get a degree, or did you go straight to work?
Yeah, so I studied computer science at the University of Iowa. And while I was in college, I actually started my retail career. I was selling consumer electronics audio equipment out of my apartment to help pay for school. So I was always passionate about technology and always passionate about retail. And when I left college, I moved to California and started working for a consumer electronics retailer. And that really started my journey in, retail, which now spans, over 2 decades. So it's been really exciting.
Yeah. So you can't use that computer science piece, and
Yeah.
then into the retail. So presumably those two have now started to merge really well, which I guess we're going to get into at some point.
Yeah, although to be fair, my computer science background wasn't something I pursued. I really, went for the business end of things. I have a great co-founder who's really driving the technology platform at Evolv, but I've been running large digital businesses for quite a long time now, whether it's innovation and new ventures or, global e-commerce businesses like I did at Toys R Us, and helping, build the first e-commerce business at Best Buy. So I have a deep experience running technology businesses and large retail as well.
Fantastic. So you started that. So what point was you so you was actually in store retail wise?
Yeah, so I actually started in sales. Kind of worked my way up through the traditional retail model. I moved from sales to merchandising, where I started in the corporate office as an assistant buyer.
Yep.
And ultimately worked my way up to the top of the merchandising organization with a specialty retail company out in California that had about 80 stores. And then in late 1999, I joined Best Buy to help build their first e-commerce business. And that was my pivot from traditional retail to digital.
Nice. And that was based in California, I guess.
Best Buy's business was actually in Minnesota. So I moved from San Francisco to Minnesota. I got to experience, many years of really cold weather, but made lots of great friends and, had great experience working there.
Nice. And what was the transition from that into the next role? What you obviously started that e-commerce piece, really at the sort of the early stages, really, in many ways. People were just starting to, everyone thought that every time they bought something online, it was fraud, nothing was safe and everything else.
Yeah, and maybe one of the bigger things back then was, most e-commerce businesses were being thought of as competitors to brick and mortar. And even within brands, at Best Buy and Walmart and Sears and many others, the e-commerce businesses were set up as separate companies and separate business units, really in direct competition. And I think, one of the things that, we discovered after several years at Best Buy was the need to really think about integrated channels from a customer perspective. And that e-commerce was not a competitor and wasn't going to be a replacement for retail, but it was going to be a different channel of retail. And ultimately, customers were going to think about them seamlessly. Um, my own journey was a little circuitous. I spent several years at Best Buy in a variety of different roles. My first role was helping to get the e-commerce business up and running.
Yeah.
Then I moved back into retail and I ran the computer merchandising group for a couple of years. And then I ran our strategic alliance group, working with large technology companies like Microsoft and Hewlett Packard and others, building long-term initiatives for the
I bet
company.
that was interesting, wasn't it?
It was fascinating, yeah.
Yeah. What was, if you got a great story from there, you don't have to necessarily say about the name of the, but I always find when they start working with some of these brands, some of the stories that come up,
Well, one of the things that was most interesting, the technology companies, as an industry, are very good at strategic alliances. They all do lots of co-development and partnerships.
Yeah.
And when we first posited to one of the largest tech companies in the U.S. that we wanted to be a strategic partner, they were like, "You're just a dumb retailer. We make stuff and you sell it. How can you add value?"
Yeah.
And our point of view was we were the closest to the customer. We really understood the market. We understood customer needs, customer behaviors, and how to build experience for customers. And we could use that to help the brands and manufacturers shape their technology and shape their products in a way that would do a better job satisfying customer needs. And it took quite a while to prove that, but ultimately we were able to develop great partnerships with some very large technology companies and really help shape how products were brought to market and how technology was developed with some of those partners.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
Partnerships.
it was
Partnerships.
hard to convince them that we add value, but ultimately we got there.
Yeah, fantastic. And some of that is the market, how many people you're talking to on a daily basis anyway. There's that.
Yeah, it didn't hurt that we were the largest PC retailer or largest computer technology retailer at the time. At least we had a seat at the table to get people's attention.
Exactly that. So after Best Buy, where did you get to after that?
Yeah, so from there, we moved to Boston and I worked for Staples for 2 years,
Nice.
running the B2B technology business. So
Yeah.
serving, everything from small businesses to large enterprises for our technology group. And then after 2 years there, I went to Toys R Us, which had just gone through a buyout and was rebuilding its, management team and the business from the ground up. And I spent 7 years there, and that was great. I had a
Oh,
real
wow.
chance from 2007 to 2013 to see dramatic growth in the business from a digital standpoint, where I ran and built our global e-commerce business. And during that time, there were a lot of exciting things happening. That was the advent of social, of mobile, of customer-generated content, of
Yeah.
video. So we had a lot of opportunity to really, create great customer experiences as well as merging the channels. We went in with a real focus on building, cross-channel capabilities so that customers could see Toys R Us and Babies R Us as single brands, not as distinct channels.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. So we're getting through these quite quickly, which is good. So because we want to get to the nuts and bolts of Evolv shortly. So
Yeah.
2013-14, you've left
Yeah.
Toys R Us, and where are you heading to next?
Yeah, well, so I moved back to California after 10 years wandering the country in my quest
Yeah.
for retail excitement. And I actually spent the next few years doing consulting and advisory work. And I started working with a lot of technology companies in the Bay Area that were building technologies for retailers. And one of the things I found was there was a lot of great ideas and great innovation, but very little understanding of how the retail world actually worked and how complicated it
Okay.
was and what it
Interesting.
took to actually bring technology to retailers. And one of the companies I was advising was a AI research and development company that had been around for quite a while and had built a lot of great technology.
Yeah.
And in the summer of 2018, working with the management team and the board of directors, we decided to spin out some of the early stage product that they were building and launch Evolv. So we launched Evolv in March of 2019. I launched as the co-founder and CEO of the company. So it's my first role of being the CEO and building a company. And it's been an
Fantastic.
exciting 3 years, to say the least.
I love that. I love that. So So first of all, a couple of questions there then. So how did the name Evolv come about?
Yeah, so the company that we had come out of the research and development firm had focused on an area of AI called evolutionary computation and genetic algorithms.
Yeah.
And the way our platform works is it's designed to constantly improve the user experience using evolutionary computation, as well as a whole host of other AI and machine learning technologies. So that was the kind of genesis of the name,
Okay.
constantly changing, constantly improving.
Okay. I love that. I mean, in my mind, that's where that was going. So it's good to know
Yes,
that there we go. Look,
it wasn't random.
yeah, I got 2 and 2 and made 4 rather than 8 or 9, which is what normally happens. So fantastic. So you started that 2018.
Yeah, really 2019, we stood up the company in March. So we're coming up on our
Yeah.
3-year anniversary.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, and if you look back over those years, there's lots of people that listen to this from from an entrepreneur business point of view, business owner. They're setting up their business, they're expanding their e-commerce business. It's all about business growth strategy and
Yeah.
and overcoming hurdles along that way. And any business owner knows that depending on where you are in sort of your business at the time, or depend on what's happening, that you go through different stages
Yeah,
of what
absolutely.
you're doing. So you start off, you're all excited, and you've got that little pyramid, haven't you? The iceberg. We've all seen the iceberg, and we all know what it looks like. So, just give me a couple of, in those 3 years, what's been the sort of highlight, if you like? What's been
Yeah.
the most proud moment?
Yeah, I'd say probably the thing I'm most excited about is the team that we've built. We've got some amazing people across the board, and it's taken us a while to really identify the right skill sets and competencies, but maybe more importantly, the kind of culture we want to build and the types of people we want to be with every day. So, I'm really proud of the team that we have now, both in the US and in Europe. We've really built a tremendous team of both experienced professionals, but also young, excited, enthusiastic, smart people who are really helping us build this company. And we've gone through a lot of growth in the last couple of years, so we've had to bring on a lot of new people, and that's been the funnest and most exciting part about it. And then secondarily, and this is not to minimize this at all, obviously, but we've been able to deliver tremendous value to our clients and really seeing tangible business results from technology. And having been on the receiving end of lots of sales pitches and lots of technology that I've used in the past, there's a lot of technology you have to have a little faith is working, but being able to prove real benefit, I think, is really exciting. And it was one of the things that got me most excited about the opportunity to launch this company, was knowing that we could build tangible value for our customers, and for the end users, build better customer experiences so they enjoyed their online journeys more.
And that last sentence is all about the experience. That ability to adapt experiences, to fine tune it, to make it work for everybody is absolutely crucial. So Michael, so just give everyone a little bit about Evolv. We've got here. What's its key aims? What's it really trying to? What problem is it really trying to solve for people that might be listening?
Sure. So, the e-commerce industry now is a little over 20 years old, and shockingly, it still sucks for the most part. And there's not a day that goes by that I'm personally not frustrated with user experiences and trying to accomplish what I want, whether it's, travel or banking or shopping. And there are a lot of things that we can do through technology to help improve those user experiences. So
Yes.
at Evolv, what we do is we use experimentation and automation to help optimize user experiences. We take large numbers of ideas from our experts and from our partners around how to improve digital experiences, and then we let the machine make decisions about which experiences to show which customers in real time. So we're constantly looking for ways to improve the user journey so customers get more satisfied, they reach their objectives faster, and the brands do better by achieving better business outcomes. So it's really about harnessing the power of technology to make decisions and take action on the website. Like you said at the beginning, for a long time now, we've had, a plethora of data. There's been no lack of data in retail. What there has been is a lack of ways to convert that data into action. And, we're finally at a stage now with artificial intelligence and automation that we can use that data to actually impact customer experiences in real time. And that's really the magic that, current platforms and technologies allow us to bring to customers.
Do you know? So I think that's really, really important, how you're harnessing the power of the data, basically, to make it work for sellers. So give an example where your clients come in and they've needed some support and some help, and you've used that data to make a tangible difference to the outcome on their website, their e-commerce, whatever.
Sure. So we work with, several large telcos, wireless companies. And, one of our largest customers, when they first came to us, they were having real problems with their checkout conversion. Customers were getting products into the basket, they were getting to the checkout page, and they were seeing a fairly high drop off. So we came in and we helped identify a whole bunch of potential changes on that website and that journey through multiple stages that we felt might be obstructing the customer from getting to their goal. And in normal testing models, you will test, one thing at a time. It's a very linear, very slow process. What we did is we identified about 10 different elements on the page flow that we thought were impacting the user experience. We put a number of changes to those items into our optimization platform. And then the system went through and tested hundreds of combinations of changes, not just one or two changes, but hundreds of combinations across multiple elements. And ultimately, what we found was by doing some repositioning of a number of elements and then also eliminating a number of steps that were confusing the customer at that checkout stage, we were able to dramatically improve conversion to the tune of tens of millions of dollars a year in annualized benefit for the brand. So it's really about, in that case, about simplifying the user experience so they could focus in on what they were trying to accomplish on that specific checkout funnel.
So if I understand that rightly, and this may be my complete misunderstanding, so I'm going to apologize in advance.
No, that's okay.
Instead of you basically taking your website and basically changing all the different bits yourself and manually trying to work out what works and what doesn't, you're really taking the computer, the AI part of that, to adapt that time and time again. So one thing, you don't have to do it, but really so the computer can be in real time understanding what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and again, unlike traditional models, you don't just change one or two things at a time. You can change dozens of different elements. And that's really important because, if you think about the typical user journey, there are literally thousands of different elements on that journey between the pages. And, if you change one or two things at a time, you'll never really understand how all of those pieces are interacting together and how color, shape, size, placement, page flows, all of those things combined interact to create an experience for the user. And you have to solve for that problem holistically, looking at the journey from the beginning to the end point of what the customer is trying to achieve. And you can break it up into smaller chunks and you've got different experiences you're trying to solve for. But, really it's about taking a macro view of the customer pain points and then trying to solve for them holistically.
So what you're saying is the computer won't just eventually look at one piece. They're looking at everything together, and you're thinking about, or I'm thinking about one page, but actually it's thinking about the 25 steps before that.
Exactly, the full flow.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and you really, you start by saying, what problem am I trying to solve with this optimization? Is it a checkout? Is it getting someone to sign up for an email? Is it getting somebody to click through to different types of pages? And once you've identified the core problem you're trying to solve, then you look at all the changes that might impact that user experience and that outcome, and then you can start to optimize around that outcome. And you can only do that using technology. You can't do that manually. It's just not possible.
Yeah, okay, I get that. I mean, that sounds like it's almost revolutionary to me that it can do the whole lot. So that's amazing. So over the last 12 months, let's say, in 20, let's take 2021 because we're only just in 2022. There's the good news. What were the key sort of things that people were, or the AI was picking up that were just the tweaks they were making that people might think, there's a couple of bits that clearly. It can't solve everything all in one, or we can't, but you'll see those trends.
It really varies dramatically by client and by industry. So, like I said earlier, e-commerce is still really challenging, and there are, a handful of companies that are very sophisticated in their user experiences and have been testing for a long time and understand how to build great experiences. But during the last 2 years, because of COVID, we've seen a massive increase in e-commerce and digital interface. And what we've seen now is companies across a wide range, a wide spectrum of industries really starting to figure out, the need to get good at digital. And I'd say some of the biggest challenges that we saw, right out of the gate were the need to quickly figure out how to change delivery models. How do you get customers product?
Yeah.
When customers were used to coming into stores or maybe shopping online, but you had all of a sudden curbside pickup, curbside delivery, lockers, containers, in-store pickup, same-day delivery, next-day delivery, and helping sort through the complexity of that online is really challenging. If you present customers with too many options, it becomes overwhelming. If you don't present them with the right options, you lose the customer. So,
Yes.
there were a lot of changes in that element that I think were really important for all big brands to figure out.
Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of other changes happening at the same time, but that was certainly one of the big ones that we saw, and it's still impacting, retail broadly speaking.
Yeah. And what do you see coming into 2022 then? What do you see as the key sort of, I'm not going to say changes, or because we never actually change, but
Yeah.
what are those subtle things that the trends might tweak slightly?
Yeah. Well, yeah, when you're right, things really don't change. Retail is the same as it's been for, thousands of years. People are still buying and selling stuff. But, the changes in technology, I think, are really exciting now because of the power of technology. And I think, we're finally at the stage where I think capabilities like augmented reality, voice search, virtual reality, social shopping even, are all actually starting to have a meaningful impact on the customer experience.
Yeah.
And I think it's just this incredible shift to digital experiences has put a lot more investment and a lot more focus and a lot more creativity around
Yeah.
how to improve that user experience online. So I think we're at a point now where we're going to see a real explosion in exciting new ways for customers to interact and buy products online or buy experiences online, and it's going to be really fun to be part of it for sure.
It's interesting, actually. My son, or one of my sons, got a VR headset for Christmas and all the stuff that comes with it. And I had a go at it. I was totally immersed in it. I mean,
Yeah,
and it was just epic. And
yeah,
my mind's like, okay, this is now a point where anyone can use it. And anyone, before you'd have a headset, you put a phone in it or something. It
yeah,
was a bit clunky. It didn't really work. It was okay, but it didn't really work. Whereas now, I really feel like it's reaching people. I mean, there
yeah.
was an app on there that you can have meetings in.
Yeah. And I remember, over 10 years ago, people showing me the idea of like virtual aisles on your computer where you could kind of walk through a store and look at
Yes.
things, but it was really crude and really, weak animation. And now you can get very rich interactive experiences.
Yeah.
And, we obviously have a lot to thank for the gaming industry for helping develop the technologies to
Totally.
get us here. Right. So now that interactivity or augmented reality, like, trying on clothes or makeup at home, without having to go to the store, or seeing furniture in your real environment, not like some sketched animated version of it, but in your home,
Yeah.
really changes the game in terms of user experience and how people can envision and change, how they shop.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of those things are going to have a key impact this year, and some of those things aren't going to change this year. They're going to be years and years and years in the making.
Absolutely.
There's, but I think that the more people understand and get to grips with this type of technology, even on the fringes, to understand how it works,
Yeah,
is really, really key, isn't it? I think what
absolutely.
tends to happen is that's not for me type thing,
Yeah.
and that's where people then fall down, but that's where they can then come and contact you.
And learn. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think, COVID has certainly had a big impact globally on everybody and everything. But, in terms of digital commerce and retail in general, the changes that have taken place are permanent changes. We're not going to see the world revert back. Physical retail is always going to be a big part of it. But what that means in this new age is going to be different. And what digital retail means is going to be different. And,
Totally.
customers have become adapted to these new behaviors. And, it's just going to lead to, we really flashed forward maybe 5 or 10 years in terms of the advent of technology, and some things that might not have come for a long time are now starting to take fruition much faster.
Yeah, I love that. Okay,
Me
so
too.
I think for me, we're coming very near to the end here, but for people that really want to learn more, dive deep, what's the three things that people would come to you for, why they should get in contact with you to understand more?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, if you're looking to create better customer experiences, help your customers have a more enjoyable journey, have a easier chance of completing their objective, is kind of first and foremost. We really like to help brands build better customer experiences. Secondly, personalization is really the new battleground in terms of how do you attract and retain customers. And leveraging technology to do that is something we're really adept at. So we can really help brands build experiences that are unique to segments of users or individual users over time, and create better experiences. And then I'd say finally, the shift from this mindset of testing for the sake of learning to really optimizing to achieve business outcomes is something that we're very much focused on. So we are all about driving tangible, measurable business results for our customers.
I love that. I love that. Just really simple, tangible results for your customers.
Yeah.
I think I said it almost correct, but
Yeah.
that is absolutely critical. Getting to do that. Okay, so Michael, if people want to get in contact with you, what's the best way of doing that?
Yeah, so if you want to reach me directly, it's michael.scharff@evolv.ai. You can see my name on the screen here. And if you want to just get to the website, evolv.ai, and you can fill out a contact form and we can get in touch with you.
Perfect. And let's just spell Evolv so everyone knows that it's not got
it's EVOLV. So it's
Perfect.
Evolv without the E at the end.
Perfect, because I know that people might listen to this on the podcast and then they won't see it on the screen. So that's totally the best way. Now, presumably people can reach out on some social channels and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, Facebook. You can find us anywhere. I will put it in a note. There are two Evolv technologies. There's another one that's a security firm that sells security hardware. So make sure you're looking for Evolv AI, not Evolv Technologies.
Perfect. So you don't need security, you need AI. That's the
difference. You need AI.
Okay, excellent. Michael, look, it's been absolutely inspiring having you on and hearing a bit about what you've done and what you're doing. I think for e-commerce sellers, one of the bit, we're so busy in the day-to-day and understanding what's going on, on running our operation, so to speak. We're so busy about trying to get containers in. We're so busy about trying to make sure we don't run out of stock. We're so busy about trying to do all these different things that actually we sometimes forget about some of these things that can give us those extra percentages. Those bigger percentages. Actually, we don't need to get more leads. We've got the leads coming through. How do we maximize the leads that we've got coming?
Yeah, it's about improving the experience and the results from the customers you have. It's gotten increasingly inefficient to spend more money on Google and Facebook. And the key is, how do you take the customers you have and convert them more frequently and with a higher value?
And that conversion is absolutely critical. How are you converting more people time and time again?
Yes.
So for all those that want to learn a bit more, get in contact with Michael. I think huge wealth of experience is going to be able to help you with your business, to help you to grow it, to get a greater conversion, and obviously from an AI point of view, be able to obviously now and see what they can do to solve your, I'm not going to say solve your issues, because none of you have got issues and we all know that, but really to help you tweak out the extra percentages. Michael, thank you for your time. I know it's precious. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you to all of those that have listened on the e-commerce Expander Secrets. We'll be back on the next episode real soon. Thank you very much.